Don't be scared, Charlie. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. We are very excited because we are here for our Game of Thrones game on a Thursday. I haven't been planning this at all week. It hasn't preoccupied my head whatsoever. I have been very focused on my job at my work and everything else in my life. Definitely.
Modifius will be releasing an After the Fire setting book shortly.
Man, I wish. No. We should say big props and thanks to Green Ronin for making the game. I don't know if their bundle of holding is still up or their it was like the bundle of holding thing, wasn't it?
I don't think it is, but it might be worth checking anyway.
Check out the PDFs anyway because they're awesome. And I have all of the books on my shelf. Cool. Alrighty. I have 3 beautiful new cast members this week. Look at you all. Oh, that's a clip. I am joined by Frost from Fyre. Charlie, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm terrified but excited. This has been so long in the planning, and we've already put so much play time into this. We've already kind of played a little bit and built so much, and it's nerve-wracking because we finally get to test out these characters live.
There has been a ton of session 0 went on for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I feel
we got a little bit into it, and then we kept badgering Sam to have more time. Can we work on this now? Yeah, I'm super excited. I thought the cast last week, the other half of the cast, our better halves, Don, Virginia, and Jason did a killer job, and it's quite the session to follow up, but we do have to follow it up. Lord Greenmont is dead.
He is. I've got tons to pack into this session. I'm not sure if it's going to survive first contact or anything, but we'll make it work. Drama ensues. Speaking of drama, Tom, you're with us.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
Well, I was really here only for session 0, so I'm
sorry.
That's why I'm here. I'm just here for the session 0. You know, this is kind of unexpected. I thought this was an extension to that, so I'm kind of somewhat worried. But apart from that, I'm not too bad. A little tired. I've been up since 6 a.m. Doing many physical things. So bear with me. It's a new system, and I'm quite tired. And I cease to function past midnight. So that'll be fun.
That's fun.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome sauce. We'll make sure you don't become a pumpkin at 12.
Thank you.
That's the thing, right?
No, the cow's pumpkin.
Yeah.
Other things turned into other things, right?
No, I have loads of Westeros lore stuck in my head.
Gremlins and
there we go.
People turn into pumpkins, and
Susan turns into a vampire.
Don't feed your pumpkins after midnight and all that.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I do want to shout out Susie for the amazing art that you can see on the overlay. This is my first time seeing a couple of the characters, and she does amazing art streams that you should go check out.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a lovely couple this week. Really de-stressed me, which was really cool, and it was awesome. To see your work your magic. I'd look away for 5 minutes and then look back, and I was like, "Whoa, there's a nose!" It was really cool. So thank you so much for this art.
We were working on a character, and Sam going, Charlie, open the stream, quick.
She was doing your character, so yeah. Cool. So, apart from all the art, how have you been this week?
Pretty good. And if you have tuned in from Twitter and want to know whether or not I did dry my hair before stream, no, it's still wet. Just an update on the hair situation. I know you're all enthralled, but yeah, I'm good.
Good.
Yep.
Cool.
I'm very scared right now. I'm just blowing. Oh shit! Help.
No, it's cool. All right. Yeah. And as ever, I am kind of stalling slightly to begin, because we need to kind of get settled in and get all the kind of mood going. But so I've been planning away. Charlie?
I was going to say, Sam, how has your week been?
Well,
apart from planning for this and scheming and having existential dread, how's it been?
Yeah, and plotting actually while I'm here. Virginia, thanks.
I needed a rubber duck. Had that coding thing. They speak to a rubber duck and they get the answer back just because they're talking it through. I just needed somebody to figure some stuff out with me. She's not sorry.
Frail is real.
Don't.
Supposed to be my sister.
We'll see how it all unfolds. I can't wait till you'll meet up in session 6 and then kill each other. It's all going to be great.
Oh, so session 6 is the battle royale, is it? Oh, okay.
Probably.
Okay.
When's the big battle usually in a season? It's like
it's about 7, 8, isn't it?
Episode 3,
8.
according to this season.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, normally it's about 8, and then they have an episode or two to do the de-escalate, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. That's where I've got to aim. I don't know if we'll get there in like 10 episodes.
This is why we announced that we were just going to do the season for 10 episodes, but we've already decided to extend it to 30.
Yep.
I mean, I'm down with that. I can play this all.
It's on camera. It's on record. Are we stalling good enough yet, Charlie? Are we stalling good enough?
No.
Could we have a 30-week session 0? I'm not sure.
Oh, we could pull out a 30-week session 0.
Yeah, we could.
Easy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. All right. Marzia, let's start with you.
Good luck.
The candles tonight are burning slowly. The candles that are burning are slowly being snuffed out as they reach the end of their wicks. It's that late at night for you. Very, very early in the morning, still dark outside, as Lord Lucas's body lies in the Great Hall. It's on a simple trestle table, covered in a green and black cloth, that bears his body as a temporary internment. The hall is empty, apart from yourself, Lady Lana, your sister-in-law, and your 2 knights, Sirs Babblebrook and Sir Alfred. The Greenmont messenger that showed up with his body remains quiet and vigilant by the door. But Lana is in absolute floods of tears at the end of the table near Lord Lucas's head, sinking her despair into a hanky. So Babblebrook is pacing somewhat and is muttering under his breath, I would have done this. I swear it's this high towers with their greens and blacks. I swear, vengeance. And Lana is looking at you briefly while still sobbing into her hanky and just saying, have we heard from the children? What? I mean, we should send word. Do they know what's going on? She's distraught.
Marzia is sat in a chair and just staring into space across the room, her face locked, trying to maintain her composure. And she's been here a while. Her mind ran through many of the things that both Babblebrook and Lana voice aloud. But there's guilt too, that maybe if she had gone with him, she could have done something. Maybe if she tended him better before he left, the infection wouldn't have taken hold. And she considers too the state of their home here at Fox Hollow. There were crypts once, down near the storerooms, but they were battered and in disrepair. Where do you lay a lord to rest? And more practical questions come to her mind, like, what do you do now? She is not prepared for the situation in any way.
You know that you are going to have to bury him quite quickly. The treatment from a silent sister, one of the devoted to the 7, that would come and put a body to rest, particularly a noble body, is a few days away, and his body has already had 5 or so days worth of travel. The messenger has explained that he was just at the foot of the Red Mountain range on the way through towards Highgarden when they had to camp, basically, because he was no longer able to travel. When we erected the tents, we put him to bed as we could. We did what we could for him, but his condition deteriorated so fast, and within a day he was gone. Rob went to Old Oak. Tuck. Yeah, Tuck. Tuck sought to get Ravens out, but it was left to me and one of the other courier lads to bring him back to you.
And she appears mostly non-responsive, but she's thinking, and her finger plays with the ring on her finger. And she whispers a name. Alfred. Someone fetch Alfred.
Alfred who's quite nearby anyway, will immediately come up quickly and light-footed, stand next to her, bow his head slightly, go, "Milady?"
We need to bury him.
Yes, milady.
Get someone to help you. And she looks at the messenger and she says, "You're going to help. We'll take him through to the Godswood." And she looks to Lana and Babelrook to see their responses to her proposal.
Babelbrook has worked his way a bit further towards the fire. He was still muttering to himself, but as you've started to perk up, start to talk about actions and start to assume your role as the lady of this house, as the dowager lady of this house, he turns and strides back towards you. And he says to Alfred, "Well, you heard a boy. Let's get going."
Yes, of course. And Alfred will head on over to the body and as carefully and as gingerly as he possibly can be prepared to lift him and take him towards to the Godswood.
With the messenger and another of the couriers, you take his body as delicately as you can. It's very stiff still, and still quite heavy. And as you lift him, his clothes expel that kind of sickly, sour smell of death that Marzia can smell as it hangs in the air as they take him out the back. Marzia, are you following?
I think she does. She'll take a moment to make sure they've fully left the room, and then she'll stand and she'll approach Lana if Lana hasn't already begun to follow her brother.
She's still holding his hand and still with one other hand sobbing into her hanky.
So Marzia will follow, and as we leave into the corridor, she'll call for a servant, maybe if her lady's maid is around, or just a passing servant.
You get a young... Yeah, you get a young lady who was carrying a piss bucket.
Rouse the blacksmith. Tell her to bring a sword to the Godswood. Fine sword.
My lady. And she scampers off into the evening. Whereabouts are you aiming to set him down?
I think in the Godswood there are a number of large trees. And she'll choose the one that is blooming the most green leaves. It's the one that is showing the greatest signs of spring. She doesn't know what he would have wanted. They've never discussed it. She doesn't know the traditions of the Greenmont house. So she's doing her best to make it up as she goes along and to make it fit with what she does know.
Alfred, you note particularly, sharing a look with Sir Babelbrook, that the Lord did not return with his sword. That sword was destined for the Oakhart wedding.
Okay. Alfred's probably not going to mention it just yet. He's going to share glances with Sir Babelbrook. I think probably acknowledging glances with him of the missing sword. But at the moment, Alfred, I think, is kind of completely focused on the burial at the moment. So when they've laid the body down, he's going to grab a shovel and help start digging the grave.
As you step out, it's a cool spring night. The seasons have just turned, and it's an overcast night as well up in the mountains. There is not a lot of light, and once the body has been set down, the two courier men work their way back to the hall, to the hall from the keep. They grab a couple of low candles and bring them out to the garden. Work their way into this somewhat secreted godswood, in kind of nestled and carved out almost into the rock, into the mountain that your keep is nestled in. And I imagine around the large white weirwood tree is either a little stream, a little source. Is that a source? What's the word? It's the...
Yeah, that's right. Source. Yeah.
Like a little source, or even in a strange...
Spring?
Yes, a spring, and even in a kind of the way that the water pools around the weirwood tree makes a kind of moat around this weirwood. And Marzia, as you glance at its trunk, it's shocked, scared. Its expression to you looks scared and afraid as it cries its red sap, and its red leaves are just starting to come out, starting to seed out of the branches now that spring has come. The candlelight gives you just enough, as your eyes adjust, to work, and it takes you and Sir Babblebrook a good amount of time to get a grave dug. There are, you can notice, not Marzia, but Alfred, no other graves in this godswood. It's very much kept quite naturally. So the ground itself, you're having to work hard to dig through webs upon webs of roots and lots of tiny network of plants under the topsoil. But you get through slowly, and you don't manage to get a good full 6 feet down, I imagine, as the rock starts to basically cause the work to kind of cease. But you get down far enough to lay the body to rest. Sir Babblebrook turns to Marzia, says, "Never been good with words at this time, my lady. Anything?"
She looks between the assembled, realizes that she really does have to come up with the words right now, and the Greenmonts are never forgotten, and Lucas is home, and so his children will be too. And she considers that Mara must know what happened because Red Rob had gone to her, but her mind is full of Miria, who she last saw when she sent her across the Reach, who had so bravely dealt with being sent away from home, and who now is all alone. And she falls silent after her promise of the children returning, feeling unwell with the pressures of what is going on. All a little bit too much. And she glances against that weirwood tree, and it scares her. And she takes a step backwards and into the warm, furry form of her cat. She nearly trips, but she's reassured by that bulk, by that mass behind her, and she reaches down and just plays with Solistraya's ears. Just stares away from the weirwood tree and to the ground, and to her husband.
It nuzzles you softly, as animals can often do, kind of takes the energy of the scene and understands implicitly. And Sir Babblebrook starts to pour in the dirt that's now banked up onto the side of the grave. Miria. Summerhall is a beautiful castle, built on in the red stone style of the Red Keep itself. Stood behind a short curtain wall, its entrance is 2 short domed towers with this evocative ironwork of dragons in the Targaryen style and green tiled roofs. From each of the roofs' centres flutters 4 black banners of the Targaryen triple-headed dragon, red on black. The rear grounds themselves are a gorgeous mix of raised stone courtyard with little fountains and ponds and some kind of shrubbery, with 2 V-shaped staircases descending down into a full garden with beautiful young trees and imported flowers from the Reach and beyond Westeros. Prince Maekar Targaryen's court is busy because he's opened his doors not only to devoted loyalists, convalescing veterans of the Redgrass Field. He's also taken on wards like yourself from the Stormlands and the Reach. Hostages by another name to his father, Daeron II. You and the only other 2 girls that you are close to here, which I forget their names almost immediately, Lyra and Joy, are playing with Harris Ball, Fireball's son, Lord Fireball, or Lord Ball, as his inheritance is due him. But while he's here, his mother has to, in effect, be a dowager lady and look after the Ball's domain while he's here. You're playing Come Into My Castle, kind of etiquette training come game that noble young boys and girls play. Harris is picking on Joy, as Joy is the much younger, the little 5-year-old girl who almost constantly has a little tear in her eye as he is laughing, pointing out some of the etiquette that she's missed in his coming into her castle. And then a little voice behind you asks, "Can I play?" And there stands the short but striking presence of little Aerion Targaryen, little Prince Aerion, with his short, kind of bobbed, almost white blonde Targaryen hair and striking purple blue eyes.
Hang on, I just need a second for me to scream.
I told you it was drama from the get-go.
You. I think at this point, Miria would be very aware of of Prince Arian and would I feel like she's probably sat on the edge of like a little fountain watching this happen, watch the other kids playing, and maybe like trying to steer Joy in the right direction with a little bit of help every now and then. Instantly stand up and sort of address him formally and of course.
Your Grace.
Yes, of course, Your Grace. My apologies.
Yeah, he smiles at that and he walks over to Joy and to Harris.
I quickly gesture for Joy to come over real quick.
Okay, she patters over to you and she looks up at you kind of expectantly.
Look, when you're addressing the prince, it's Your Grace. Make sure to always be very, very polite to him. Be careful, yes? Okay. All right. Okay, go on. And then, send her off back.
Yeah. You push her off and she scampers over to take her place in her castle. And the scene that unfolds is Arion clearly not playing by the rules. Jumping in and out, interrupting her, messing around. Joy, in a uncharacteristic moment as she gets flustered and distraught by what he's doing, blurts out, you can't play, you don't know the rules. And Arion looks at her and shouts, I don't have to because I'm the king. And the moment hangs for a second until from the top of the courtyard above you, you hear people start to say, "What? Oh, what's that? What's going on?" And you see people start to talk, to point, to move off. Arion himself turns, looks up, and runs up the staircase into the courtyard. It seems everyone, even the knights, the old war-wounded, convalescing in the gardens particularly, are all making their way up towards the courtyard and up to the staircase. Lyra, the other slightly older girl who is within the wards who are here, a 10-year-old, turns to you, looks at you and says, shall we see what's going on?
Yeah.
And she rushes with you, side by side, even up the staircase. And there's a knight. As you get to the top of the stairs, there's an old knight with a clear limp who has taken his time up the staircase, and you must wait for a second. But as Lyra is leaning over just to see through the kind of stone balustrade kind of banisters part of the courtyard wall, she's looking through the gaps, and she gasps,
"What is it?"
I think some kind of prisoner.
Prisoner?
And you now can work your way up the staircase, just the final few steps. And as you turn into the courtyard, you see the scene of several Dornishmen in their either bronze or slightly battered scale mail armor. They're fashioned for helmets with turbans underneath, all hanging quite loose, with their helms, some pointed, some caps like a more common soldier. So there's a clear mix here of different types of knight, maybe, as well as horsemen or scouts, stuff like that, all quite athletic. And they are dragging a short man wrapped in furs and with a cloak with a hood up over, so you can't see his face yet. His hands tied by a rope at the front, and they're leading him, pulling him occasionally as he juts forward, trips up a bit over his own feet. Leading the group is not so much a knight, someone who looks more like a scout, with hard but worn and aged leather armor, and a sash across the front in a dyed silk, and on it the emblem of a black vulture carrying a baby in its claws. I would actually like you to make me a cunning memory check, please.
Okay, cunning. Let's have a look. Where is my character sheet? All right, bam.
Oof, let's get one into it then.
It's 10.
Okay. You look at the... let me get my description up. What's the point of writing these if I don't actually do them? Where are we? Yeah, so you look at the old gentleman here in this leather armor with this emblem, wearing a short black beard, no helmet to speak of, and a cleanly shaved head. He has, even from here, you can see deep brown eyes and laughter lines giving away his age, around his eyes, but has somewhat of a youthful face. His pale skin has been weathered to more of a kind of farmer's tan from what you can imagine is all the work he's done actually, like traveling, orienteering, scouting, and is clearly a man of the Red Mountains. This is Lord Edmund Blackmont. This is your uncle. And he is leading this band of Dornish men into Summerhall Keep. A crowd now is following them through into the keep, and there is a buzz of nervousness and rumour about as people wonder who this young man is that they've dragged here through the Stormlands.
Maria would go up to like the closest member of like the Summerhall Guard or any of the knights there.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
He just looks down at you.
What's happening? Who was that man?
I don't know.
Do you know why Lord Blackmont is here?
Captured him, most like.
Do you know where?
Haven't heard nothing, my lady.
Thank you.
And court is called almost immediately. And this isn't... there is some talk, and there's this kind of period of time of about half an hour to an hour where there's rumour of, will they close the doors? Will people be allowed to see what's going on here? Some people think it's Aegor Rivers, Bittersteel. Some people are then like, you're being absolutely stupid. Aegor Rivers is massive, and this like battle axe of a man and stuff. Like, this clearly isn't. This could be a scout of his or a spy. This could be one of the Blackfyre children. Like, they might have finally caught one. Maybe they've got the sword back. There's all this stuff going around court. And eventually, a herald or a few servants that Lyra asks do let you know that court will be, and Prince Maker will be holding court imminently. And this will be an open session. No one is stopping anyone, particularly even now Joy has even joined you. Lyra says, let's try and make our way up to the ladies' gallery.
Yeah, let's go.
And you make your way up some beautiful red marble stairs up into the Great Hall, the gallery on the right side of Summerhall Keep. It's done very much, I imagine, because we don't have much information canonically on it, but I imagine it's done very much in the style of the Red Keep, with braziers on columns down 2 rows. I hadn't written this literally just before we started. I was like, my God, right. So I think the seat of Summerhall is a celebration of summer, and as such is like a kind of raw bronze and gold color in not so much swords but in flame. for the Targaryens. So like they've had some like masterwork bronze forger crafters like working at this, and there's some like gold leaf and stuff on the seating and the arms.
Glasswork as well, where it's all been like dragged and shaped, and you get like the amber veins and things through it.
Yeah,
really well.
Yeah, and there is a large, thinking of the kind of history of it, that kind of large stained glass window letting in a lot of the spring light of what's been a fairly clear day so far this afternoon, is of Baelor the Blessed walking through dawn to save, I believe, was his brother. But this was some of the first forging of that relationship between House Targaryen and House Martell, and the beginning of that kind of recompense for so many wars and such conflict between particularly the Reacher and the Marcher lords of the Stormlands and the Dornish. And the guards here are certainly a mix, at least in armoured style, of the Dornish silks mixed with chainmail, as well as some brigadine cloth chess pieces. Prince Maekar is a beast of a man, stands very tall, wears a black surcoat with a quartered dragon emblem. So he's got 4 of the Targaryen triple-headed dragons on his chest, on his broad muscular chest, as he walks in with a square-cut white beard, the violet eyes of the Targaryens, and a very pale blonde, long white hair just below his shoulder length. The court stands at either side, as the centre is this group of soldiers led by your uncle and this young man in the middle. The ladies' gallery that you're in is absolutely packed out. There's usually probably a handful of people here, if there are at all during court. If you're not that kind of, like we were saying earlier, that kind of dowager lady who is actually like running a house at the moment, they would be stood downstairs. But with handmaidens, like noble handmaidens, wards like yourself, noble ladies here, a big mix of Dornish houses, particularly some Danes with their pink and with the silver of the soldier on their crest. And they're all stood waiting for Maekar to sit, as he does, on his beautifully sculpted flamed throne.
Kind of want to see if I can kind of like shimmy my way to the front with Lyra and Joy.
How do you want to do that? Do you want to do that by get out my way, do you know who I am? Or do you want to do that with let's sneaky to the front?
Yeah, being sneaky, but also being very polite, as if like acting like we're going to meet somebody or somebody we know is up ahead, like you do at a bar where you're like, oh, you pretend you know someone, so you like scoot past them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to get you to roll some like weird check with different specialties, but fine. You wiggle your way to the front. Joy can't see over the thick stone balcony balustrade thing that's here. So Lyra kind of picks up and just props her on like that little stone plinth bit just before the actual banister, and then the handrail. There's a really thick stone handrail. But she's still trying to peer over towards your uncle. The angle you've got on this, I imagine, is that you're just at Blackmont's kind of 2 o'clock. Like not quite in his eye line really, but you've got something you can see his face, and he's the first one to speak. he says, "Your Grace," and bows low, and the others bow fairly short because they've still got hold of this young man. He says, "We found this young lady as a spy in the court of House Baratheon, and one of the men yanks back the hood, and underneath the cloak is a scruffy young woman with slightly tanned skin, very messy black hair, and obviously has been through a fair amount of walking and poor treatment on her way here with these kind of guards, for want of a better word. Your uncle says she was making her way to House Will, the Bone Way. She fought hard, killed a couple of my squires, but my lords managed to put her down. One of them smacks her knee, forces her down onto her knees in front of Prince Maekar. He says she's not said much, but for what she has said, she's confirmed our suspicions. I'm worried that her network runs deep. I'm worried, Your Grace, that her network runs here. I would, if I may, have your permission to investigate your court and question the young ladies and handmaidens here. And he glances up at the gallery and just for a second stops in his tracks as he catches your eye. Your Grace, I believe this woman should stand trial. You should know that she is Daira Storm. I do not know her father, but there is a chance that her connections could run throughout the realm. Prince Maekar asks, a Blackfyre spy, I presume? And he says, yes, Your Grace, I believe so. Spying for Bittersteel, who I believe has made his way to Essos. So she says, at least, for what her word is worth. Prince Maekar looks briefly towards his young lady wife, Princess Diana Dane, young Dornish woman, who looks up at him with a fairly neutral but kind of reassuring glance, strong as well. And he works his gaze towards her and says, Daira Storm, you will be imprisoned here, awaiting trial. Lord Blackmont, proceed with your investigation, and should whatever evidence arise, inform her trial. And Lord Blackmont bows deeply and just says, Your Grace. And joy as the court begins to disassemble and a hive of voices erupt, slowly start talking to each other, start gossiping. Joy turns to you two and says, bastards are awful liars. I heard Septerigrid say they're born of weakness. And then Lyra turns to you and says, well, she's the natural daughter of someone. It means she's got noble blood. She's somebody's sister. She shouldn't be judged on that. She should be judged on her actions, not her name.
I agree. But you know as well as I do that that's not the world we live in.
As you say that, there's a gasp and an audible kind of panic from the bottom of the courtroom floor as this young woman lurches towards the throne, towards Prince Maekar, who turns and just like broadens himself out as she is grabbed by a couple of the Dornish men who have captured her, and they put her to on her knees again to the floor, but she spits out towards Maekar. This realm will never forget the names Blackfyre, Bittersteel, and Fireball. And as the Targaryen name fades, the names Stone, Sand, Rivers, and Storm will remain. And then she's as she's being wrestled back out through the door, back into like a side door down towards the dungeons, she's screaming, as long as noblemen are weak to the flesh, we will remain a constant threat. And the humdrum of court has turned into a deathly silence. Marzia.
Yes, Samuel.
Hello. Back over to you. So Babblebrook has interrupted your sleep this morning. It's literally the morning after the burial, with a letter in one of the very short, long, raven-carried letters, dark words carried by dark wings. Oh, my lady. Sorry to disturb.
What is it? What does it say?
It's a letter.
She squints at this bit of paper.
He opens one of the shutters at the other end of your room, just ajar, but it's enough for you to just take a moment to readjust. As the and you can hear the patter of large raindrops just falling in a shower outside. He says, it's a letter from Mara, my lady. From Old Oak. She's very sorry that if no one told you before your lordship's body was brought back here, and if she were able, she would tell that she hopes this message would tell you in a way herself. She asks you to look after yourself and the baby, and to send word for whatever you need. By the time you read this, I shall be in Oakheart, and I shall send any aid that I can. And she signs Forget-Me-Not.
Thank you. The Babblebrook.
Is there anything I can get you, my lady?
No. Not this morning. Later we should write back.
Very well. There is something today, I'm afraid, my lady. Today is the courtly day for Greenmont. There is a petitioner outside.
All right. Send me my lady's maid. I'll get ready.
Very good.
Ask Lana to come.
Very well. And he bows, and he, quite formally but shortly, and he leaves. You close the door behind him. What particulars are you doing to get ready for today necessary than would be any different?
The difference today is she is going to apply a slightly more ornate makeup than she normally would, in part to hide her kind of sleep deprived eyes and reddened from crying, and in part to try and convince herself that she is the lady of the house and she has power and presence, and it's a camouflaged more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so she'll take the best dress she has, put that on, draw out her eyes to appear, some say more cat-like, some say more crane-like, it depends who you ask. And she adds small golden flakes to detailing. And then she waits while her hair is fixed by her maid.
Mm-hmm. Court is going to be very quiet. Alfred, you're definitely eligible to be there. Babblebrook will accompany Marcia, and I might probably pick up Lady Lana, actually. Imagine. Marcia, as Babblebrook escorts you into the Great Hall, he is kind of muttering both to you kind of and to himself, just working out. With a male heir to Oxfollow, this lordship would have passed to Lux's son, and you would not be in this position. Arguably, as his rightful born daughter, Mara would have a very good claim, as titles usually or should be inherited by their children. Unfortunately, no heir apparent. Well, I mean, you have a claim as his wife to hold these lands and titles till you sire a boy. God's
Sir
willing.
Babblebrook, is this relevant to the petition?
No, your lady, my ladyship.
What is the petition?
A young woman is here with her sickly son. I believe something about a raid or an attack.
On our lands?
I believe they are on the border somewhat, but yes.
Right. And Marcia's going to pick up the pace to get in to see this woman concerned about the news of a sickly son more than the attack right now. She can deal with one thing. The other thing's kind of a little bit beyond her scope in her own head. So she kind of hurries into the room, opens the door herself, not waiting for Babblebrook or an attendant to do so.
Sure. Babblebrook is still muttering under his breath a bit, Alfred, as he takes kind of a kind of knightly position next to you, as you guys stand kind of like, I imagine, like at ease, but towards by the side of the seat of Greenmont House, which I'll want to establish in a second. But just before, as he's still muttering, and he's saying, "Should a man make a claim on Fox Hollow, no matter the distance, if another can't present a stronger claim, then he would probably inherit. It's all men since the council." Yes.
Sir Babblebrook, what are you muttering about?
Oh, I'm sorry, boy. It's just about the lineages, the inheritance of. I'm trying to figure things out.
Oh, is it complicated?
Well, and as the scene continues, he is slowly whispering to you the points I have so eloquently been not trying to make. Basically, it's all about the dudes, but with no dudes. Who's to claim, essentially. It's all about claims and none of it's automatic, is what he's getting at, basically. Strongest claim wins, and all that. Charlie, as you are the font of creative choices and decisions, I feel. I say that with love. what is the seat of House Greenmont?
As Sam throws me under the love bus.
Whoa!
The seat of Greenmont. The base of it is a hefty stone which contains iron ore, ferrous ore in there.
Oh yeah, of course.
And it catches light. The seat itself changes or has changed over time to suit he whom sits in it. For Lucas, it is a heavy pine chair. One of the taller of the trees that grows here in the mountains, cut down and shaped. It's fairly traditional and blocky, and on it sits 3 pillows embroidered in gold on green and black.
Mm-hmm.
Comfort and functionality.
Just at its very tip, as its triangular peak, I think sits the emblem. With the 3 carved with the 3 little swords going into it there. Lana sits where you used to sit. It's a little wooden, kind of ornate wooden stool. And she still has that hanky, but she is no longer crying. She looks at you as just before the Great Hall doors open. And she says, "You're strong, Marzia. I know you'll do well here. Trust your heart, but listen to your head." As the great doors open, she turns and straightens out her dress, broadens and pulls back her shoulders, and sits, waiting. It's not a massive hall, but it's a fair old walk for the common woman, the small folk woman that steps forward into the hall. She's clutching round a boy, not too young, actually, fairly tall as he's wrapped round her in a rough spun kind of cloak, shawl. And it's a real weight for her, and she is moving down the center of the hall towards you.
Marzia had all but sat down in the seat. She'd kind of put it off, and just as she was about to finally kind of touch down, she instantly stands back up, seeing the woman and her son approach, and she reaches out a hand, expecting Sir Alfred or Sir Babelbrook to help her down from the plinth so that she can go and hurry to check on the boy.
Sir Alfred's there pretty quick.
And she grasps your hand and she gives it a solid squeeze, having a lot of emotion from the words just spoken to her and the position she's in. And then she'll walk quickly, slightly more quickly than a lady probably should, and she'll go straight to her attention on the boy more than the woman, wanting to seek out what this ail is. Part of her, in the back of her brain, fearing the worst, which would be plague. And she wants to know as soon as possible what this is.
Sure.
And so she asks, "Tell me quickly, what happened?"
My lady. And she tries to bow, with the boy in her arms. My lady, please, we are just a simple hunting family on the edges of these peaks. We farm goats for you, my lady, and we have been attacked by Dornish raiders. They came to our home and sacked, killed so many lambs. My other son, a recruit for your devoted, he tried, and my husband, we were lucky to to lock ourselves in the barn. But they found us. My son.
Enough. What ails your son?
I don't know, my lady. He is so sick. He is so hot. And he has these.
Alfred, lay the boy down.
And as she lets you start to handle her son, she's still saying to you as well. He can't breathe well. His neck's all swollen up. He's not been right since.
Holding a hanky over her face, still not sure what is wrong. I'd like to do a diagnose check.
This is perfect. Let me actually grab my rulebook out. Alrighty, let's see the old skills. Your abilities. Okay, medicine. Where's medicine? Healing! That's what it is. There we go. Diagnose. Okay. Are you going to be examining him properly?
Yes, she would.
Okay.
She might ask Alfred to remove clothing if needed.
Yeah. The wrap is just over him and is easy enough to pull away. There are not many clothes on him left. There's a shirt that's too large for him, and this is a very young teenage boy. And he's basically wearing like a wrap around his groin, so his legs are bare. And Alfred, as you pull away, you can see just like nestled in the back of the knee joint are little white blisters in the skin. And as you look around as well, some on his feet. And Marzia, you notice them on his hands as well.
So I would like to make the roll to see if she recognizes what these blisters might be.
Absolutely. So this is formidable 12. So you're looking for the target number's 12 on the diagnose.
14. Perfect.
So with 1 degree of success, you know the basics that this is choking fever. It is quite serious, and it's his high temperature, swollen glands, and the sores and pus-filled blisters on his hands that indicate all of that. If he doesn't receive a treatment pretty soon from draining and cleaning the blisters, and then also a good bit of bleeding, like leeches and stuff, and all those nice kind of tricksy medieval treatments.
Alfred, we'll move him to the ward. There's no one there now. And then I need you to go to the stream and find me some leeches.
Oh, right away, milady. And he'll pick up the boy and head. Cool. Do all that.
Yeah, awesome. So, Marzia, the diagnosis is going to give you a +1 dice, keep dice, on your next treat ailment stuff for you. So, Babblebrook asks about the attack, and the woman can't give many more details, but it was an evening, a dusk raid. She definitely saw some Dornish kind of armor and robes. She thinks she recognizes a kind of like a mix of skin tones from the dark Dornish skin of the kind of, central kind of deserty area to your more paler skin from the mountain ranges as well. But she is adamant that it was a Dornish raid, probably more through the history and prejudice of the area than what she's kind of she's not being very convincing in her kind of analysis necessarily. But she's clear about the armor, and that's when her and the boy went into the barn to try and stay away. As Babblebrook asks a bit more into it, it turns out he knows the young recruit for the Devoted, or at least he knows kind of who he was, not by name, but recognizes the new hire, and it's very unfortunate that he had to fall in his duty to protect his own parents.
Babblebrook, what scouts do we have remaining?
I can assemble a group of the best Devoted we have. I shall have to go down to the hamlet, but that wouldn't be a problem. I could leave by nightfall.
Yes, have a patrol.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure his name's added to the wall.
Yes, my lady. I would, when Alfred's back, I would take the boy too.
No, leave the boy be. And she turns to the woman and she says, I need to look at your hands and your legs. You need to make sure that you haven't caught the fever.
Oh, I'm going to make a little cheeky check here. All right. I would like you to make me another diagnose check, please. So you're examining her up front properly, so this is going to be test.
Have asked Babblebrook to leave the room for the lady's modesty.
Sure. So you check her over. I want you to roll another diagnose for me. This is going to be target number of 12 again.
14 again.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Roll20. It's doing this a lot. Chat, I have to pay respect. Jeez. Too much. So yes, it's not showing right now, but she's got a little bit of the fever, and you imagine that she might have caught this too. It is quite a contagious affliction. But she's been handling him intimately though.
So Marzia is going to order her to the ward as well, and the order is basically no one's to go there who doesn't need to be there, and I'll let you know who needs to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Alfred, I would like you to make me a survival forage check.
Okay.
And this will just be the target number will be 9. And basically what this will do essentially, Marzia, is give you rather than try and work it off a skill, this will give you a +2 to your test result for your treat ailments, because this is you getting the stuff you need. Yeah.
Come on, Alfred, bring me my leeches.
9. That's it. That's what you needed. Just
didn't want to mess that up.
So how do you just get it right? Like, how do you just not mess this up?
So Alfred has basically been in the wild most of his life, so he knows the area intimately around the mountains and around. He will immediately go to the stream, and realizing that speed is of the essence. The area around where he currently was probably isn't the best for leeches. Yet he continues to have a look here and there, and only by his knowledge of knowing what nooks and crannies to actually find within the stream, that he's able to find just probably about enough that he feels would be good enough for what Marzia needed.
Perfect. Yeah, you've got just enough, but it's great. Yeah, a little jar. But or a little like a little goblet, but like it's just don't drink out of this one.
Empty bottle of wine just swimming with little leeches.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's cool. So you bring them back for Lady Marzia. Are you letting Alfred stick around, or is this a strictly like surgical? Everyone's out the way.
I think she would ask him to stay and help her in case she needs to kind of move the boy to apply the leeches and things.
Okay, so you can assist Alfred. So I won't necessarily need you to roll medicine. Sorry, not medicine. Jeez, healing. But if you can reason another ability out for me, then I'll let you roll that. This is going to be so not to meta, but the target number for this is going to be 12. So I don't know why it's so high for assist either. I'm going to make it 9. I think 12's pretty up there for assist.
Okay, if I assist and I fail, will that affect negatively?
I'm going to say only if you critically fail. So if you fail by more than 5 or 5 or more, then if you get a 4 or less, then you've messed it up. But otherwise, you're doing what you need to do, but it's not giving you an edge, you know.
Marcia will suggest that you remove your good jacket unless you want to burn it after this.
Oh, are we burning the dead now?
No, we're burning the clothes that get contaminated with the fever.
Sure.
Yeah, Alfred will take off he tends to wear his leather armor, and he'll take that off, and he'll take off the small gambeson beneath. So all he's got is a shirt, just a really tatty old shirt that he wears. He doesn't own many clothes, and he'll head on over. Being basically poor his entire life, apart from recently, would you say that he has had experience with this before and could potentially use his own survival check that he's picked up over the years on how to,
survive from it?
Survive from it, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's the poor equivalent of healing. Survival.
Ooh, 14. That went well.
There we go. That is 2 degrees of success, actually. So what I'm going to say is, so what is your rank in survival?
4.
So you are going to lend. It's normally half your rank. You're going to lend a whole 4 to Marcy's test result. So with the leeches, did I say 2 or 1? 6. There we go. Right.
And I have +1 keep dice from my previous success.
From the diagnose. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So this.
Marcia is gonna pull on this heavy leather apron to protect the dress because she doesn't want to burn her dress. She doesn't know the germs go through fabric. She doesn't know.
No. Sorry. Not sorry. This is going to be just a difficulty 9 test. Treat ailment for your specialty if you've got that.
Yes, I do. Shall I just up my healing level by 1 rank to reflect the keep?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
As long as you put it down afterwards.
10 +6 though.
Okay, cool. Right.
15.
Okay, so 2 degrees. So you work for an hour, draining, leeching, cleaning. With Alfred's help, getting to all of the nooks and crannies that you need to get to around his body, like up behind the knees. Unfortunately, some kind of around in the crevices of the leg, the crotch, a little bit under the arm too. And he's always fetching. You're always fetching water as well, Alfred, constantly from, and the nearest place is the spring in the Godswood. So, the patient's skin, like this boy's skin, is starting to become a little cleaner and a lot less red and raw from the sores that are around those little pinch parts of the body. So, Marcia, I would like you to roll for me an endurance resilience test, please.
Okay. Endurance. That's deception. Endurance. Here we go. I don't have resilience, so this is just flat endurance. 10.
Okay. And Alfred, I would like you to make the same test for me, please.
Oh, okay. What's my 8?
Okay. Thank you.
And I imagine Marcia is gonna set to work cleaning the woman in places where the spots are showing, using kind of like herbal water, be like a rose infused water with some sort of maybe like a honey paste for kind of antibacterial purposes, even though she doesn't know what antibacterial is, and just kind of trying to cover it and prevent. Because I don't think we have enough leeches to do both, right?
Yeah, and thanks to George, it's all boiling wine. So you're like boiling an off bottle that you've had lurking around of like a spicy Dornish red that you don't really want to drink anymore, and just boiling that up, and that's what you're using to cleanse away. Well, at least we're not doing
the hot oil treatment, right?
Yeah. That's extra at the Cremont Spa, right? All right.
A deluxe package.
Cool. Yeah. So with the 2 degrees, you're quite confident that the boy is going to do quite well. All he needs now is essentially like a week of rest. Mm-hmm. You've done all you can. His temperature is coming down from all the water as well.
His cool cloths until,
yeah. And I imagine that you would tell his mum as well that kind of information. She asks, "My lady, I know we've already been an intrusion. Would we be able to stay here and until at least my boy gets better, and then we'll be back out? I want nothing more than to get to my home again."
Yes, you'll stay here until his fever breaks and until your signs stop developing. We'll have food brought. You can tend to him.
Thank you, my lady.
As for your farm, we're having a patrol sent. Hopefully it will dissuade our Dornish neighbours from further excursions onto our land.
Okay. Thank you, my lady. You've done us a service. Where is our Lord Lucas? Oh no, of course, the wedding. We did hear. Sorry, my lady.
Quite all right. Perhaps next spring you can bring me an extra lamb.
I hope so. We'll have to find another breeding pair from somewhere. We'll rebuild.
Yes, we will. And she kind of pats the woman on the shoulder. And she'll quickly exit the room. It's one of those walks where you're trying not to walk quickly, but
yeah, sure.
You also really don't want to be in the room anymore.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as she's out of that ward and she closes the heavy door, she kind of crumples down to her knees and is trying not to hyperventilate as the emotion just starts tearing through her. Having just heard about more dead husbands and then reminders that her husband isn't here and she has to do all this on her own.
At that point, Alfred's probably going to come round because he's not too far away from Marcia as he turns around. Milady, Milady, are you okay?
Yes, just a dizzy spell. We don't need any more water for now.
And he's holding. Yes, of course. And he puts it down to the side. And he, do you require assistance?
Perhaps just up the stairs.
Of course, my lady. And he'll
don't forget what I said about the clothes.
He looks down and he's got his tattered. Yes, I'll burn this as soon as we get you to your room.
Thank you. You were very helpful.
And you did very well, my lady. Should we go?
Yes. And she'll kind of take your arm and pull herself up, kind of awkward and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And he'll help her back to the room. And then immediately burn the shirt and try and look for a new one.
Oh, bless.
I think Marcia would kind of recognized that she hadn't really seen Alfred in many clothes other than the clothes she sees him in every day. And she'll have one of the servants fetch some of the clothing we have, like maybe one of like Bland's old shirts or Lucas's old shirts. We have a whole host of spare male clothing going. So she'll just get like an old shirt from the collection and have it sent to Sir Alfred. Something plain and woolen, maybe kind of made on one of the farms or something.
Mm-hmm. One of his plain items of clothing. Absolutely. Oh, okay. Miria.
Yes.
It's quite late at night, and the night of the kind of intrusion by the captors. In your room, you can still hear the soft sobs of little Joy, homesick for Seaguard. The little nightly routine that you have to endure as she cries herself to sleep. Lyra is in the bed to the other side. I imagine kind of to your right hand side, as Joy's is kind of opposite you. You're still, you can't sleep, you're still holding your sister's letter that arrived earlier that evening. It's a softly worded thing, and describes what's happened to your late father, what happened at, or essentially what would have happened at her wedding, because your father's not there to walk her down the aisle, and that your sister misses you desperately. She promises to come and visit as soon as she can, and she wishes that you had been there at the wedding. There's another page description of food. No, there's not. Thanks, George. She tells you to keep yourself safe and remember everything that your parents taught you. And she tells you to forget me not.
So I feel like Miria is very restless in not being able to sleep, and with hearing Joy cry again, as she has done so many nights before, and Lyra just kind of, I feel like Lyra probably learned to just block out Joy after a while and just passes out every night. Like, she's
Lyra's
a
a snorer.
Sleeper. Yeah, I think she's a heavy sleeper. So between Joy crying and Lyra snoring, and the letter in her hands, it's a bit of like over stimulus. It's a bit too much for her in this room at the minute.
Yeah.
So she's gonna like very quietly just hop out of bed, throw on like a little like dressing gown, and just try and get a little bit of air.
As you open the door to your dormitory, there is a figure stood in the doorway. Quite short, just a touch taller than you. A young boy. It shocks you, but it's Harris Ball. Do you know I was here?
No? What are you doing here?
I've come to talk to you lot. I want to see. I want to talk to that woman, Dara Storm.
Why?
Well, I never really knew kind of like what happened to my dad and what happened at the battle. If she was there, she'd tell me how he was, how brave, how like valiant, how, everything. Look, if we go down into the courtyard, there's a bit round the corner. There's a bit in the garden that people don't go. They've made the cells, the little like barred windows at the ground level. Like, we could sneak around the courtyard. We could sneak into the grounds. We could talk to Dara Storm. We could find out what's going on. Maybe she's here to start over. Maybe something's going on. Like, we need to know that, right?
I mean, that's very exciting, but do you know what will happen if they catch us?
They won't catch us. I'm quiet.
I'm not.
look, no one's awake. It's been such an exciting day. You know, the guards.
I can hear a pin drop from 3 miles away. She's going to find us.
The guards are all pissed. I've already had a look.
Oh. Okay, I'm coming with you. But if we get caught, you're in so much trouble. I will throw you straight under. I will tell them it was all your idea. I swear to the 7, I will.
I mean, it was all my idea.
Oh, come on, just come on.
You close the door as quietly as you can to the dorm room, and you scamper down the corridor as quietly as your little slippers will carry you. Harris Ball's pretty quiet on his feet too, and then as he turns a corner, and you look at him in the moonlight he's actually reached the kind of outdoor courtyardy bit. He takes a look at you. He kind of like pulls up his surcoat, his trousers a little bit, and he's got bare feet. And he kind of like gives you a smile, and then he turns and he's like and drops it, and then he's like behind the pillar for a second. As you can hear the steps of a guard out in the courtyard, just around you from there. He looks at you and he's pointing like. And he takes a look around towards the guard, and his moonlit face striking hard shadows against his nose and chin. And then he ushers you over.
I'll very quietly, like, I'll hook up my little nightgown and my little dressing gown and just tiptoe over.
So he takes your hand and he slowly takes you out into the courtyard. There's the guard, like, resting, leaning on his spear, very casually, looking from behind, very tired. And Harris takes you to the left, away from this guard, looking around constantly. There's just this guy on duty for now. Just in the distance, you can hear a little rumble of laughter and clinking tankards in one of the towers to the southeast. You head your way down the steps quietly, and the garden is absolutely deserted. But there is a beauty to the quiet of the night down here, around the young trees, around all the different flowers that have closed for the night. There is a little bit of dew now settling on the grass itself, that's been freshly scythed just a couple of days before. You make your way by hugging the back wall of this very tall raised courtyard. There's a good 18 feet or so above you is where the staircase would raise it up to, and you work your way round the corner. And Harris is absolutely right. There is a corner here that dips right down, and then you imagine there is a little almost like a commoner's kind of fence with little wooden posts and just like bits of kind of cotton strung up, and then you can hear the faint bleating of sheep's lambs as well. I know a couple of them just as they walk around the moonlit night. A lot of them, these kind of little clouds in a field, like laying down and sleeping for the night. The grass and the dew catches your ankles a little bit as you have hoiked up your dress to try and be as quiet as possible. And now you're nearing these little slits in the red brickwork, the red stonework, and there are these little iron bars just inside, just stopping anyone from squeezing themselves through. Harris looks in the first one, peers inside, can't quite see in the really dark conditions. He moves to the next one, and he looks inside, and then pulls back. and you can see the scruffy-haired face of this Stormlands bastard woman staring up at you and looking out. "What do you want?" she says. "Come to gloat. Come to smirk. Spit at a traitor." And Harris leans in intently, his eyes wide, and says, "No. I'm Harris Ball. I'm Lord Ball. I'm Fireball's son." And her face softens a bit, and she looks at him briefly, looks at you for a second.
"I'm Maria Greenmont."
Dara Storm. Harris can't contain himself as he asks her, with just a little bit too loudly, What was my father like? What was he was a champion, wasn't he?" And he goes on about how valiant this man would be, and how if it wasn't for some roguish, awful archer the morning of the battle, like sniping him, assassinating him before the actual fight, he would have won the day for Blackfyre. This all would have been reversed. And she replies, No, he was careless. He thought he could outsmart the Bloodraven. Tell me, little lady, how many eyes does the Bloodraven have?
1,000 eyes in one.
Would you like to be a little one of Aegor's eyes? He can protect you here, you know. You don't think he can. Help me leave here, and I can protect you.
I don't think that's a good idea.
I'd like you to roll a status breeding check for me, please. We
Shit.
do a little bit of the actual intriguey stuff. Let's do
11.
11. Ho ho ho. Let me bring up.
Susie, do not lose your shit right now.
This is so bad.
I believe in you.
Drama. Dun dun dun. Trying to pick the NPC.
Strong and forever, like the mountains. Remember that, Susie.
Strong and forever. Oh. Yeah, cool. All right. Oh. Did you see that? That's not the GM roll? Yeah, cool. So 12. All right. So she is going to go first. That's going to be her opening gambit, pretty much, is, do you want to be one? He can help you here. That's perfectly cool. He can... Aegor Rivers has influence on these lands.
He's an Essos. What the... No!
Right. Picking my... Well, remember to pick your disposition.
Uh-huh.
And I then going to modify it because she is a bastard. It's going to reduce your disposition to her by 1 step.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
So you don't need to tell me that, as that is a cool bit of secret info that I might be able to glean. But she's not going to be as clever as all that to read targets. So I am just going to try and influence, actually. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. Okay. A 4 against your intrigue defense. And that is a 4.
Nah.
Nah, you're right, mate.
Nah.
Cool. All right. So that is her opening gambit. She tried to influence you. What is your next move? So we pick. Hang on. This is the thing, isn't it? We pick technique first,
Mm-hmm.
and then a bit of role play. What do you want to use here?
Dang. I don't know. I don't think Miria particularly wants to do anything right now except just try and get a read of this woman, see what she's doing. Just want to read target, really.
That's cool. Absolutely. Make me an awareness test, and it's gonna be about my passive deception.
Okay. Bam. Oh my god.
Oh, what is this? Roll 20. 3 1s.
3 1s. I have a 4 in awareness.
Jeez. Okay. It's the darkness of the moonlight. She looks kind of both weirdly kind of jovial and jestery, as well as she's clearly kind of like on the intrigue attack here. So she is putting up as much of a front as she can. I am going to intimidate. Actually, she's gonna pick you out for what? Because you're a weak little lady. You think you can't do anything here because you're a prisoner here as much as I am amongst these bars. Actually, sorry, this is going to be an insight.
Oh,
change my role play up here. I'm going with it.
Mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. That she's goading you against the Targaryens that have kept you here, playing on that, you know, you just don't see the bars around you. Walk out of here. Go on. See what happens. You're as free as I am in this dungeon cell. And it's not Aegor Rivers. It's not your family that's done this to you. Prince Maekar the Anvil is as much to blame as anything, as his brother Baelor and the incestuous, illegitimate king that sits the throne. Can I give myself a little bonus dice for that?
That was good.
You like it? Is that all right? Charlie can have a bonus dice?
Yes,
yeah. Is that all right?
What are you asking Charlie?
Well, you know.
I mean, the DM in me is like, give you 2, but the player is like, you get 1.
No,
Betrayal.
Come on, I heard 2.
Betrayal,
All right.
Charlie.
It was well played.
All right. And then hang on, keep. Damn it, cool. All right. This is a manipulate. What's your passive will?
My passive will is... Oh, how do we figure that out again?
It's will times 4.
It's 12.
Ugh. Can I have 2 bonus dice, Charlie?
You already had 2, didn't you?
No, you gave me 1. All right, I'm rolling. Screw it. I'm rolling 4, keeping 2.
Yep.
Oh. Shit. All right.
Okay, so I'm going to immediately retort with a clicking out of the intrigue sheet, so I'd lose my Charlie.
Nice.
With a going for a convince.
All right. Go on.
I don't know what action I'm gonna do with this one. Maybe just a straight influence.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mary's is. But it is my family's fault I'm here, as much as Maekar's fault. They chose a side and they chose the wrong side. They lost. And I have to suffer for that. And I'm not going to be an idiot and put myself in any more danger than I have to.
Weak. All right. Roll me the check. It's persuasion. Straight up persuasion.
Persuasion.
You believe everything you're saying?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. No deception in that. I just had to check.
Oh, a 14.
Okay. So, where's my NPCs? Oh, that is 2 degrees of success.
Damn.
Are you remembering your modifiers?
Nope.
Susie.
Thank you, Charlie.
Welcome. I hope it helps and doesn't hinder. I'm not sure where you're at.
It's a 12. It hindered.
It's all right. It's still 2 degrees of success. So what is your will rank, I believe?
My will rank is 3.
So times up by 2 is 6. Okay. Yeah, she says weak, but she seems put off by it. And I am going to kind of essentially hold her action. She waits by the window for a moment as she considers her position. Back over to you. I'm going to keep those 2 bonus dice for my next thing.
I can't be pushed out of the window, so shut up. Okay, so we're gonna just go for another like convince straight up influence attack again, and Miri's gonna press the point and say, "My uncle is the one leading the investigation about your network."
Yeah, she bristles at that visibly.
Get involved.
Going to give you a bonus dice for that. There's a nice like drop of information there. It's a key piece that's going to kind of knock her off her social feet. So add that bonus dice to you, and let's see if you can roll less ones.
Okay.
Fewer ones.
So, let's do another one. I've lost the freaking thing. There we go. Let me just bam that. Bam. It's a 13.
Okay. Charm?
No, it was just because it was a +1 bonus dice.
No.
Not charming.
Cool.
It was already in there, so I just went bam.
All right. So
charming.
That is. I want to say. No, it's still 2 degrees. So another 6 influence towards her already. Okay. I'm going to use those 2 bonus dice. And she says to you, blame whoever you like. We're all responsible for our own actions while in this world. Not the gods. Not kings. Not the powerful. We all have a chance to forge our own names on these lands. And I intend to do just that. Do you want people to remember the name Miria Greenmont, or would you want them to forget? And this is going to be convince influence. And I've got those 2 bonus dice from the consider. So let me roll these again. Please get 2 6s. That would be lush. No. Suck. Okay, cool.
Sam, while this conversation's happening, what's Harris Bull doing?
Harris is just like aghast. Because he's essentially like watching this. Daira has just like focused her attention on Miria. It's almost as if this is her kind of MO. You know? So he's kind of sat just not knowing what to do with himself, essentially. Okay. It's over to you, Miriam.
Okay, so at that, Miriam will bristle, and she's going to incite back. And we're going again, just hammering home with some influence. And she's going to say, "And who will remember the name of a bastard trapped within the cells at Summerhall? I have a chance, as you said, to forge my own destiny. I'm not going to pick a losing side. Not again."
All right, nice. Going for the kill. Go on. You got something. You got enough.
Persuasion. Bam. Oh, a 14. It's just going up every time.
So it's a 14 rather than a 16. Yeah, cool. Okay, that is 2 degrees.
So that's another 6.
Yeah. All right. She is out. Her composure's gone. You've won the intrigue. That means this was insight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the success for insight means that you move an opponent against another. The incited target's attitude to individual, organization, or house you indicate shifts a number of steps downward equal to your rank in persuasion. So who would you like her to be turned against?
Oh, geez.
It's kind of the Blackfires, right? Like, this is kind of like, look.
Yeah, like what are they doing for you? You're stuck here. I mean, it's how it's gone for you.
Cool. All right. Is there anything particularly you would like her to do, or that you would like to get out of this, seeing as that you've defeated her? It's this thing in combat that narratively you can decide what happens. You don't have to kill the person. You can send them to the wall. You can knock them out. There's all that kind of stuff. So, is there something here that you want to get out of it, or you want her to like kind of do something necessarily based on your success? You don't have to necessarily.
I think Maria, before I think at this point she's starting to like, she's reaching for Harris's hand, ready to take him away, and she says, "Perhaps you should consider onto why you're here and whether or not that is ultimately going to serve you. And for everyone's sakes, this conversation never happened." And then I would just take Harris's hand and walk away.
Yeah. Cool. Into the night. Harris pulls your hand back and you duck behind a short bush as you see a small figure striding across the gardens, looking around, and about catching off the moonlight of the clear night is the white hair of Aerion Targaryen.
Fuck's sake.
Would you roll for me, please? A stealth check.
Must I?
Yeah.
An 8.
Ho, ho, ho. Let's check.
Charlie, I'm going to need some of these stress marshmallows. Thanks.
You have just succeeded. As he nears the bush towards you, Harris holding your hand, his shaking in yours, as I could imagine you like taking your other hand and putting it over the top and just not breathing for a second. And Aerion looks around, kind of listening too, and makes his way towards the cells.
Come on, let's get out of here.
You dodge your way around the courtyard guard and back into your dorm. Harris at the door looking absolutely dejected.
I'm sorry, Harris. I know that's not what you were hoping for.
What she said's true, isn't it? He was stupid.
No. Look, he was a man. Men make mistakes. He was still a great man.
Don't let anyone let you say that. Hear you say that. I'm gonna go to bed.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow.
And he slinks off in the night. Alfred. Sir Babblebrook comes to you early in the evening, just as the sun is casting a deep red light over the crest of the Red Mountains to the west. And he's suited up, ready to head out on the expedition. He says to you, I know much would rather have you here, but I need the best foragers, trackers I can find. And I know you know the lay of the land well, boy. I'd have you follow me.
I mean, I do, yes. I know the land very well, but Lady requested me to stay, and I must follow her orders. Is that what not knights do?
Well, yes. I historically know, but yes. I'll have a word. Babblebrook comes to you, Marcia, asks permission for Alfred to accompany him on his patrol. Guards are positioned at every doorway, the road up to the hall, around the lookout posts, around the natural crevices and peaks of the hills. You'll be safe here.
All right. But before you go, I need you to write some letters.
Very well. He gets out his pen. Where are they going?
First, send a message to Mara. Wish her congratulations on the wedding. Remind her that her father was very proud of her. And thank her for the kindness of her note. Promise her that Greenmont remembers her fondly. And so do I. Then a letter for Miria. Tell her we'll send someone to visit soon. And we hope she's well. I'll finish that one in a second. Write one to Sir Oliver.
To Old Oak, I believe. Yeah.
Yes, I believe he's still with Mara.
Yes. Well, he was to return. We could try it. To imagine that Mara would have asked him to stay, particularly in the court of the Oakhearts. The Dawn in exile, not very welcome, I imagine. Oakhearts have been killing Dornishmen for centuries.
Marrying Mara, probably.
I will write regardless, my lady.
Tell him that Greenmont is grateful for the service he has given us. and that we hope he returns to Fox Hollow soon. It is his home. Tell me, Babblebrook. Greenmont's writing code, don't they? The thing they do.
I believe. I mean, possibly. Lana may know more, I believe.
All right, and she'll pick up the letter that she saw him writing for Miria, and she'll take that in her hand, and she's gonna go and find Lana.
Okay.
So Babblebrook.
Yes, lady.
Stay safe in the mountains.
As always, my lady.
Thank you.
And he leaves for the hills. Alfred, he takes you with him, and the journey itself takes place into the night, as this is the kind of early evening that he's grabbed you. You set down camp for the night, not too far from the hall, a few hours, and then come the morning, in the freshness of the early morning, you head out to the edge of the kind of border of Greenmont territory, and that is where you find the small farm settlement that has been raided. It's very clear from the get-go that it's been raided here. The bar gate that would stand at the front of their little yard area has been like trampled down and broken up. There's a dead sand steed just beyond it in the yard. As you work your way through into the courtyard, you can see a couple of dead raiders. Towards the actual house itself, near the doorstep, lay a dead body covered up with a woolen throw, and then another towards the corner of the L shape of the farmhouse itself, covered up as well. In amongst the yard, and as the devoted, these kind of guerrilla fighters of House Greenmont work their way out into the field beyond the farmhouse, as there is this kind of open stable bit, because these two big stable archways that look just straight throughout. You can see a little stream of lambs that have been a couple of lambs that have been slaughtered, and a couple of sheep very, very roughly butchered up and then taken. Parts of them have gone. There are, you could tell fairly immediately, there are tracks that lead off back, kind of coming back on themselves to this broken bar gate, out into the hills to the south.
Away from Greenmont territory, right?
Yeah. To the south, heading towards Dawn, essentially. But Dawn proper is a long way from here.
From the way of the tracks, how long ago were these tracks made?
They're pretty fresh.
Okay.
There thankfully hasn't been much rain, just a kind of smattering of it. So while the tracks have softened, they've probably only been here a couple of days.
Okay. And essentially, from what we can tell, this was kind of like a smash and grab. Get the animals, butcher them, get out with the meat, and something like that, is it?
Yeah, it looks that way, for sure.
Alfred will go to Sir Babblebrook and show him where the tracks lead up. Only perhaps a few days old. I can't imagine they have gotten too far, unless they decided to go with speed.
He looks down. Good find. Yes, they look in a hurry, don't they? I probably count half a dozen men. Possibly.
Yeah, give or take.
There's 2 here, as he points to the 2 Dornishmen that have been slain, been run through by one of the hay bale pike things.
Alfred's going to go have a look and search them.
Okay.
See what you can find. Whether there's an emblem on it of a house or some identification or just anything really.
So this one's wearing very rough, wide ring mail on top of a very, very scruffy old arming jacket. The giveaway for the Dornish nature is the darker skin, the turban. He's got a very rough beard on him as well. Next to him is a kind of like a wilier scout type, very thin, wearing leathers and then silks over the top of that in more natural colours. On them, they've got quite crude or rusted kind of sabres, long sword type weapons. The other one a short sword, a couple of daggers on them. They've been dropped as they've fallen.
From the equipment they've got, maybe no more than just bandits.
This looks castle forged once. As he picks up the rusted sword and kind of examines it in the morning light and kind of rubs off a bit of the rust, or tries to at least. Something more than just hill tribe or wildman attack, I guess. Yes, intriguing.
I mean, we could track them, see where they go. It could lead us to a house.
Absolutely, my boy. Yes, please. And he yells out to the devoted, Alfred will lead the front, and everyone fall in line, get to the horses, let's go. So, I would like you to make me a survival check, please.
Okay, I can do that.
Difficulty is going to be a 12.
Okay, I actually am trained in track as well, so it's not too bad. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, damn it, 10.
Oh, okay. So, the tracks themselves, like I say, lead off to the south, but they start to diverge from the actual, kind of road itself. You follow very jagged path that there is a naturally walked path out in the mountains, the hills, and you get to a point now where the terrain is fairly hard going even for the horses, so you have to pull them along, and you have to make your way on foot with the horses as you try and keep to the tracks. You do eventually find or keep up with the tracks themselves, but for a little bit you lose yourself, come back on yourself. You're very oriented, you know where you are. It's finding the tracks themselves amongst this quite rocky, hard ground that's the real difficulty. Eventually, unfortunately, come nightfall, you do... At the moment, having lost the tracks, you worry. But then Babblebrook points out on the horizon, on the ridge, cresting that's kind of this other mountain just away from you, probably a league away. You spot a campfire in the distance, a speck in the night terrain, but the shimmering amber of a fire, undoubtedly.
It could be them.
I think so, boy. Let's and he looks round to the devoted and he says, got some of the best night fighters in the bloody realm. There's no time like the present, let's go. And you make your way for that hour towards the camp itself. When when you do, you keep your distance a little bit. What you can see is a pretty established setup of nestled in like a small kind of crevice crater, probably only say kind of 30 feet across. There's a small camp.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fire in the middle, fairly large, as the cool spring air has drawn in. The weather is giving you a little overcast darkness, but you are getting a bit of moonlight through that as this kind of thin clouds are overhead. Now that the rain has passed, the showers have passed, and you can get a good night eye look on what's going on. There are a couple of people still awake, and they're around the fire, drinking from skins. There's a chest you can see, and then around where posts have been knocked into the hard ground are little kind of makeshift tents thrown over with rough cloth, a mix of different kind of colours. No emblems to speak of as such here, but there is activity and people asleep. You manage to spot just one lookout on what is essentially kind of their like little front gate. There's nothing more than a couple of posts, and they've tried to like erect some really makeshift fencing around the kind of perimeter.
Is there, because it's in a crater, I'm assuming we can get elevation over the camp.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that all the devoted are armed with bows.
Let's double check. A little boring bit here, but yes. Marksmanship damage is 1, so that to me says that these are slings.
But these are slings.
Yeah. Fighting damage is 5. They're more like up close and personal.
I see.
Saboteurs and guerrilla fighters.
Okay. In that case, Alfred's going to take to the high ground. He's going to signal everyone else, and he's going to take take an arrow and line it up to the watch, the only one left on guard. And he's going to take a breath. And as he takes the breath and pulls the bow, he kind of closes his eyes. And as he closes his eyes, it's almost like the world around him kind of goes quiet. And in his mind's eye, it's almost like being back on the battlefield again. And he takes a deep breath, opens his eye, and releases an arrow, hopefully hitting the guard.
In that second, around you, there's a swirl of horses and mess and mud and the smell of blood in your nostrils just as you draw back. And then, as you release, he is unaware of your attack, so you are going to get a +1 keep dice to this attack.
Nice. Okay, so I'll add that to that. Okay, and I'm using a bows and marksmanship and 20.
Whoa! Right.
I'm very good with bows.
No,
I know.
No 6s, so not a crit,
Unfortunately.
but it is 3 degrees of success. 3 degrees, 3 degrees of success. So it's 3 times your bow's damage.
5 is my bow's damage, so 15.
15. Yeah, so I'm not going to let him take any injuries or wounds from this. You get him in the neck.
Cool.
and he falls onto his front.
And I feel like the second that the arrow's gone in, and almost even before the body's hit the ground, that the devoted are already silently moving in past the body. And Alfred at the moment is going to be on Overwatch. Yeah. Anyone that gets up out of way, he's gonna take a shot.
All right, okay. There's a cry from the two guys in the middle of the camp with a fire around. And they're yelling, "Attack! Attack!" They're drawing weapons wherever they can find them. The people sleeping are rushing up out of their makeshift tents with little, not any like arming jackets or anything on, just shirts or just kind of just wrappings and stuff. But the devoted are in there and ready. Charlie, do you want to make me a test for the devoted?
Sure.
Some little stabby.
Stabby.
All right, so let's have a look at there. So they're in the holdings tab of the House Greenmont thing, but I can got them here. So let me tell you. So their athletic stealth. So their fighting is 2.
Okay.
So I want you to roll a 2 dice for me. 2d6.
Oof.
Oh yeah. That's a hit. That's 1 degree of success. So, yeah. In terms of the melee that goes on, they are managed to get in a good couple of hits as they come out of the bushes.
I like to think like one comes out, just grabs the guy by the hair, drags his neck back, and just slices that throat. And then
one of the guys sleeping,
and like elbows the guy coming up.
Yeah. There's a fight that ensues. Sir Babblebrook is clanking down in his half plate. Let me check that he's got.
Come on, Don Quixote, you can do it.
Hey, he so is. Where is he?
I like to think our guerrilla fighters do go for like slashing throats because it stops you from screaming.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Babblebrook. What did I give him?
Come on, baby. You can do it.
Brigadine. Yeah, so he's got those plates that have been sewn into those jackets, but he's still got chain underneath and like some rather large like greaves, braces, and they work their way up the arms as well. All right. Susie, why don't you roll some Babblebrook attacks?
Forth with Babblebrook.
Where is his thingy?
Is he...
Babble boldly.
So he's like, going to House Greenmont at the top, and then NPCs is right below that.
I got him.
And then you should be able to see all of him from there.
Yep. So
long blades.
Let's go, old man. Bam. How'd he do?
Oh, nice. 14. What's the blue about? 2 6s. Oh.
2 6s and 2 1s.
That is a crit. It's 2 degrees of success, plus you're going to increase his base damage because it's 2 6s by 2. So his base damage with the bastard sword is 6. I imagine he's wielding it two-handed.
Doesn't his damage increase because of Castle Forged?
Sorry, it's the test. So actually, it would be 15. Is still 2 degrees. Wait, hang on. Yes, still 2 degrees. So the base damage is 6. If he's wielding it in 2 hands, it goes up to 7 because it's an adaptable weapon. It's the bastard sword, so it's the longer version of the longsword.
I feel like on a skirmish, he's not taking a shield with him.
He'll just go 2-handed, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, he goes in and just like smacks this guy. It's a ton of damage, and he's just going to go over, basically. All right. As the devoted start moving in towards the center of camp, and Sir Babblebrook starts like striding forward in front of this guy, you've got a larger captain essentially in the middle of the little melee. Alfred, back up to you, I'd say.
I am going to specifically aim for his knee.
Oof. Alrighty.
I want to bring this guy down, hopefully, so we can question him later.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. 24.
Ooh.
No sixes, come on.
Man, that's tough, right? Okay, so quick maths. It's like 3 degrees. Yeah, most definitely. And the base damage is 5, is it?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I am going to give him a wound. So he's going to be at -1 dice. But yeah, he takes that arrow to the knee. Can't believe I just said that. And yeah, and you see him kind of slump slightly, but he's like his legs shaking, but he's still standing. And he's got a bastard sword, similarly to this kind of rusted bastard sword in the night, like raised up against Sir Babblebrook, and goes for Sir Babblebrook. So this is going to be. Where are we? Oh, hang on. Oh man, Susie, what's old Babby's combat defense?
7.
So 23 take away 7. It's 14. 3 degrees of success.
It's
So
16.
every 5.
16, Sam.
Oh, I've been a muppet. So 5, 10, 15, 16, 4 degrees of success. The crit gives him a +2 damage on this. Base is 6 up to 8. Times by 4 is whatever that magical number Charlie says in a minute.
32.
Okay, so we've basically got a choice here. So Babs' health is gonna like be knocked out.
Go up its own ass.
Unless you want to take a wound, which will ignore all of that damage, but he will be at -1 dice to all tests.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, wound him. Don't kill him.
All right. So the guy, this broad-chested Dornish sellsword, slices at Babblebrook's shoulder, getting into the crease underneath his arm, slicing as Babblebrook takes a step back as he tries to parry away the blow. And Alfred, you see in the night this spurt of blood gush out of his side under his armor, as Babblebrook just staggers, rights himself back up, and the devoted move in. Charlie, what do you want the devoted to do here, exactly here? Muted.
I think they're working on like a divide and conquer strategy. How many devoted are there? I missed that bit.
Say 2.
So yeah, I think they'll kind of go and they'll kind of hack and slash their way through people, just clearing out. So no one can like interfere with Babblebrook.
Yeah.
In the middle.
It's this guy. Like
It's
that's
just
it.
this guy?
It's this guy now. Yeah.
Oh, then they're just gonna gank in.
All right. So make their attack 2 dice, and I'm going to give you a bonus dice for flanking as well.
Okay. Is that just bonus dice to roll, bonus dice to keep?
Just to roll. So rolling 3, keeping 2.
Yep. 10.
Okay, that's a degree of success. So their melee damage, it's 5. Okay. They do the best they can. He parries one, but the other does have a little stab at him. Cuts a little bit of the kind of very rough, like kind of oily chain he's got on, and Alfred.
Alfred's gonna aim for his sword arm. and he's going to try and aim and make him drop the sword, basically.
Okay, so this. Oh man. Okay, I'm not going to make this a contest, but disarm is a thing. This particular maneuver. So bear with me for just a second while I flip through all these pages. No. Advanced combat. That's what we want. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Come on. There we go. Advanced actions. Okay. I want you to roll standard marksmanship bow attack. Difficulty is equal to your opponent's passive fighting results. I'm going to make that... He's already at -1 dice. I think this is going to be -1 dice. No, well, it's the kind of difficulty of the shot too. Like, you're good, but you've not been hitting those sixes just now.
Yeah.
So this is going to be 16. You have to beat this by 2 degrees of success. So really, your target number is 21.
That's a lot. Do I add my bonus to it as
well?
I have a question, Sam. You know we have destiny points. You can use them, right, to affect things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without banning them.
Yeah, so you can spend them, and by spending them, they won't be available to you until you've reached one of your short-term goals.
Yeah.
Or there's a kind of or you collectively have done something to reach a milestone in the game, or to actually kind of progress the house a bit. It might be time as well, depending on how we go. Let me check on that for you now, just to make sure. Okay, so by spending a destiny point, you can gain a bonus dice. You can't keep it. But that die can exceed the normal limits on bonus dice, because remember, you can only have as many bonus dice as you have skill dice in the skill. You can convert one of your bonus die into a test die, so you keep another one by spending a destiny point. You can remove a -1 dice. You can bestow another -1 dice on him, so actually your target would be take away another 4, 17. Hang on, that didn't work.
That's right, 21 to 17.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do it. I have faith. I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna give it a go?
24, and I've got 2 6s.
So that is well, yeah, I mean, that is 2 degrees of success. It says resolve a, or it did resolve a standard attack, so I imagine you do some damage as well. I doubt it though. Something tells me. If you succeed with at least 2 degrees, you disarm your opponent. Okay. I'm gonna give him a wound as well anyway, as this arrow, as he raises his bastard sword up to bring it down upon Sir Babblebrook, this arrow embeds into his arm, and he drops the sword in front of him as he yells out into the night in pain. The devoted grab him and bring him down to the ground.
Alfred's going to make sure there's no one else in the camp moving before he heads down, so he's going to have a good look to make sure no one else is hiding.
Yeah, it's fairly clear, you think, from checking all the little tents, all the little, like, what could be like little nests, little marksmanship nests, or surprise little holes to jump out from. And it's all fairly quiet.
In that case, he's going to head down and immediately head to Sir Babblebrook. And could I use survival to staunch the wound? You know, just apply pressure, so not heal him, but prevent it from bleeding further.
I am going to make this healing. Rather than survival.
I'm not very good with healing, but I'll give it a go. There it is. 5.
All right. You patch up with some rough cloth what you can. You take out the arrow, which he flinches and grinds his teeth at. he's still trying to shrug off these two devoted guys. They're fairly kind of sprightly. He's very brawny. So Babblebrook puts another arm, putting his weight into it onto his shoulder to keep him down there. And he says to you, bind him quickly, lad.
I get some rope and tie his hands and feet together.
Yeah.
Very, very tightly.
Cool. Not a problem. The guy is not speaking. As you do tie his feet, the guy still being held looks you square in the eye, and his like deep brown eyes gaze into yours with his ferocity, and he hoiks up as much spittle as he can and slings it in your direction, just catching you on the bottom of the chin, on the neck.
I punch him.
Jump cut then to Miria. You are sat in needlework, I think. Scepter Ygritte is sat with the 7-pointed star not far away on the table in front of you. Surrounded by handmaidens. Lyra. Joy is doing some terrible needlework, but she's giving it a good go. Lyra is doing a beautiful little piece. It's kind of a river, natural scene kind of thing. What are you embroidering?
Miria is doing a floral piece, and noted and prominent within this little florals are the forget-me-nots.
Oh,
She's
nice.
doing like a little remnant of home.
Yeah. The doors open, and stood just outside are your uncle. In front of him, flanking him, are two Dornish cavalrymen. They've taken off helmets, turbans. Now they're wearing only their kind of army jackets, and they've donned a kind of similar soft leather to your uncle's hard leather kind of jerkin, or was more like a surcoat. Well, kind of the older Ned Stark kind of jobby. And they walk inside, and your uncle looks at the scepter, Ygritte, and says, because I forgot to do his accent earlier, he says, give us the room, please. And there's a second where everyone just looks around. And then as handmaidens, ladies, start to walk away, he points at a handmaiden here. She's a warded handmaiden, wearing a orange dress with 3 black towers embroidered on the front. And he says, "Not you." People are starting to get up to leave.
Yeah, I would very quietly and obediently get up and leave.
Okay. As you walk past him, his expression softens somewhat, and his gaze follows you out of the room. And
I feel like if Miria caught his gaze, I mean, she's trying not to, like, she's trying to be like low-key and behave herself, but if she met his gaze, I think she would like smile a little bit and like give him a little like, "Hi, uncle," little nod,
Okay, cool. He doesn't smile back at you, but he sees your little kind of appreciative nod. And after everyone, and even the scepter, clacking on the stonework floor with every other step. When she leaves, the doors slam shut. Where do you go?
I feel like Miria kind of wants to be like nearby, obviously not hanging outside the door trying to listen. Because that's how you get found. But she wants to be somewhere like conveniently close by, where if her once they're done with the room, they walk out, she could maybe catch her uncle. So if there's like a little courtyard or anything nearby, or like a little sitting area, she can like sit and.
Yeah. So this, I'm actually thinking now that the hall itself towards the southern side, near that bigger courtyard, is actually fashioned more like a quad, with a little courtyard inside in that kind of slightly Dornish style, with the kind of oh man, what are they? They're the baths, some bath things. They've just been built too. It's cool. It's all history. But then, so like they're in like a quad, and that's where some of a lot of the kind of like little rooms, library, and all this kind of quarters are. But then you've got the Great Keep that's on the more northerly side, and that's the larger building that's attached to that this is attached to. So you're in this kind of quad. I'm thinking it's again fairly nice day, actually. Now that the clouds have gone. And eventually the doors are open again, and you're sat on a bench by the wall that juts into, so you have to turn a good 90 degrees to see. So these doors open inwards, you hear them unbolt, and then one of the Dornish cavalrymen walks out holding up the handmaiden as she's kind of lolling next to him. She's walking, or she's stumbling with him, and the other cavalryman with his with a long cloak of a quite fiery emblem that you don't recognize from the Dornish sands, kind of masks the scene a little bit for you. But this lady is kind of looks drunken, like she's kind of stumbling and holding on to this guard. Your uncle steps out last and closes the two doors behind him. Is it your intention to approach?
Yeah. Especially seeing as the other two guards that are with him are kind of occupied right now with the handmaiden. Mm-hmm. I feel like Maria would just very quietly go up to him and Lord Blackmont.
He turns and he says, Milia. And he gives you a hug. A hug? What the fuck? Gives you a hug. If you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. She would return the hug. It's the first family she's seen in, a long time, so.
It's a nasty business that brings me here.
So I've heard. You made quite an entrance.
Well, sometimes it's good to be dramatic. It catches the prince's attention. How are you here? Good.
I'm well. They treat me well. I am. The scepter is lovely, and I'm allowed to carry on with my reading, which is always good. I've always enjoyed reading. I have something to tell you.
He motions to a bench nearby.
I'm gonna sit down, and she pulls out the little letter from Mara. Mm-hmm. I've received word that my Lord Father is dead.
My lady, I'm so sorry.
But that's not what's troubling me right now. Last night, as I read the letter, I needed to get some air, and I found myself in the grounds, and I stumbled across the cells. That woman spoke to me. She tried to recruit me as a spy. I of course turned her down. It would be foolish, dangerous, and not to mention treasonous to do so.
Of course.
I thought you should know.
Yes, of course. I was not lying when I said that this brought me here is bad. You are quite right to tell me something like that. I appreciate your honesty. I can help you with this. Can save you from this investigation.
What do you mean?
It's not nice work to interrogate the ladies here. Your sister is to be wedded, is she not?
She is married. She's an Oakhart now.
And your last brother, he is the Citadel, is he?
Last I heard, he was becoming a maester, yes.
Very well. I will make sure that you are looked after here. I shall probably be sticking around for a while.
Well, it would be nice to have some family around. Yeah.
Have dinner with us tonight.
Oh, thank you, of course, yes.
It's mostly roguish men types that I'm sure you could hold your own if you have your mother's
I had 3
tongue.
older brothers, and yeah, I am very much like my mother.
Well, there we are then.
Told.
Dinner it is.
Until then, Uncle. And then she'll get up, she'll give him another hug, and then scupper off.
Yeah, he sits and watches her leave. A mixed expression. And so we're going to leave tonight. No dramatic music, I'm afraid. Not straight up.
Just our screams into the void.
Are we less scared now? Are we
No,
more scared?
No!
I am. I'm less scared.
Fear pre-stream. Fear after stream.
Alfred's kick-ass, man.
Yeah.
As long as he's at distance and no one's charging at him.
That's true. That's true.
Really close and he's made of paper.
Awesome.
My paper archer.
Yep.
Everyone needs a good nickname. Alrighty. Well, that was awesome. I got well into that. Jeez. All right. Cool. Lots of stuff to consider and to keep writing on. Brilliant. All right then. How are things shaping up for you guys? Charlie, how are you shaping up? Or how's Marzia shaping up? Because you were kind of like, we've built so much. You said before, like we've built so much of these characters and so much of these relationships in the house and the situation that hopefully we're getting across now to people as well who might be watching. Like, has she surprised you? Like, you feeling on track with her particularly? You think? That's such an invasive question. I know. I'm sorry, but I just thought like we'd check in.
I mean, in the meta, I'm screaming as much this week as I was last week.
Okay.
So there's much screaming going on and much. This means this. Ooh, ooh, ooh. As for Marzia, she's handling things pretty well for the most part, which I kind of expected. She's a fairly composed person. But
she came out really strong, and I really liked that.
I think she is definitely kind of having that feeling of being atop a mountaintop, and it could go kind of one of two ways.
That's so cool, yeah.
But she's doing her best to do what she thinks Lucas would have done.
Yeah.
And to try and rally in her own mind what she now needs to do. And she's trying to work quickly and not waste time crying in a corner, because you don't get that kind of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think she learned that the hard way a few times in her life, so it was nice that she got to do some healing. That was cool. Hopefully we didn't just bring plague to Fox Hollow, but
damn it, you've seen through my ruse.
I lost my favorite shirt.
Oh, mate.
Sorry, boo.
R.I.P. that shirt.
It's better quality. It's okay.
And apart from Alfred's kick-assness, how's he doing? All good? Are you feeling it?
Alfred's really good. The benefit of being a character with a commoner background is that all of this game and plays and airs is just, he just doesn't understand it. So he's kind of ignorant. And so at the moment, Alfred is in this blissful, ignorant stage where at the present moment, he's just thinking of the now, which is protect Marcia, and at this present moment get this prisoner back to Fox Hollow so we can interrogate him and see who's orchestrating these attacks. That's all that's going through his mind at the moment. This grand scheme for Alfred just isn't even anywhere near it at the moment. But it's fun. It is liberating being in that blissful ignorance thing. I don't have to really think ahead. You know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
We're all playing chess and you're playing noughts and crosses.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Alfred isn't a particularly educated person.
Yeah. Not even drafts. Noughts and crosses.
Noughts and crosses. Noughts and crosses. But yeah, I'm loving it. I'm really interested to see how much further I go with Alfred, and I'm really interested in role playing Alfred in court and Alfred outside of court.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun there.
Sweet, cool. So Susie, a lot for Miria first episode.
You know that one meme that everything happens so much? That's just Miria right now. Everything has happened at once.
They're like one of the central courts of the time. Like, this is all going. This is all going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is for how I envisaged Miria, and for how she was built. This is where she needs to be. This is where it's all popping off. But that isn't going to stop me from internally screaming when, it's like, hey, do you want to be a spy for Agar Rivers?
Go big or go home. This is my whole writing philosophy.
So you know how all of the inheriting family are dead? That's interesting.
Isn't it, though? And the one male is now a maester, and now Miria just went bleh to her uncle, who's been a little bit off. There's some off about that dude. But actually, Miria did surprise me a bit there, because with the proposition about being a spy, there was a part of me that was like, would she take this? But then having the discussion we did about her being about survival and knowing that she's got to look after herself and not get herself into hot water, I knew I was like, no, cannot be getting involved with spying for the Blackfires, because it's not going to go well. Especially when the woman said, how many eyes does Bloodraven have? Because like, you don't fucking mess with Bloodraven.
He's a fucking magician, mate.
Yeah, he's all magic as shit. It's
like,
he's a wizard, Harris.
Yeah.
And poor little Harris.
Poor Harris, my heart. Please marry him.
I
imagine those two have like a little childhood crush thing going on. Like,
I legit had an epiphany just the other day when I was like, yeah, so like, he's the only son. That's why he's been warded here. Oh wait, that means he's Lord Ball. Like, shit. Okay, cool.
That's kind of the tragic reality for a lot of these, like in real life and within the game itself, is very young you suddenly become Lord, Prince, King, Queen, and it's like before that you were just a person. You're being trained to be those things, but you don't know how far you get in your training before you are that thing, and you have to get it done.
Yeah, that's just it.
Yeah. And like how he was like so childlike with like, oh, this woman knew who my dad was. You could tell me about my dad and let's go sneak out at night. And I was like, sweet boy.
So earnest.
I'm so glad we dodged Arian though. Holy shit.
Oh shit, that boy is like seeing the devil in the dark.
It
just
is, right?
For you. It's like, what's it called? The black shark, only it's this blonde little boy.
Yeah. Weren't you the least bit tempted to go back and eavesdrop though?
Yes. Very tempted.
You don't even torture her anyway.
Yeah, because he's evil.
It would have been just a nasty little boy.
All right. With that, let's.
Your Grace.
Your Grace. Cool. With that, let's wrap up. So, Charlie, where can we find you? What have you got coming up?
What do I have coming up? Tomorrow is Friday. I have a pretty quiet weekend, actually. I have my sister visiting, which is going to be really fun. And Sunday, we have our off-screen Session 0 for Sky Chasers, which I'm very excited to get into and start building that, because May 12th at 4 p.m. over on Tales from the Grim, we will be debuting a brand new Call of Cthulhu show. There's no Cthulhu in it, but there's a lot of other shenanigans about FBI investigators in the 1950s cruising around America, finding all sorts of trouble. And then, let me think. Monday is a new season over on Encounter Roleplay. So we have Inquisitor Season 2 coming up, and I will be appearing in Cult in the Wednesday slot at 2 p.m. I'm super excited to try that out. Modifius have just released this whole new edition of Cult, Divinity Lost, I think is the full title. And it's edgy. But
it is pretty edgy.
I'm kind of excited. I get to wear another wig. And yeah, I'm really excited. That's gonna be at Session 0. So if you're not familiar with the system or you're just curious, come check that out, because you'll get to see quite a lot of the stuff that goes into the game. Yeah, 2 p.m. for that one.
Cool. Modifius distributes, but for the life of me, I cannot find or remember who.
I have my book over there, but I can't.
Helmgast, I think there's been a Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's a company over in Sweden.
It is,
I think the original version, and this version is much more like a Powered by the Apocalypse game, but it's 2D.
Yeah, so this is Helmgast. Yeah, rings a bell now. So yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited, and Tom's in that too, along with Lindy, and it's gonna be so much fun.
Cool. I'm looking forward to checking it out, because again, like we've seen Cult a little bit around work, so actually seeing it play would be really cool.
Yeah, pinned tweet for my whole schedule. I've got a lot going on at the moment. I'm very excited, and I have wigs for nearly all of it. So
we love it.
This is my life now. I just wear a lot of fake hair.
I live for the wig photos that turn up in Discord. Yeah, cool. Check out Frost from Fyre on Twitter, and you find that pinned tweet. Tom, apart from the Cult game, anything else you got coming up?
No, I don't think so. I do occasionally stream on Twitch, video games and stuff like that. But no, the only games that I've got going at the moment is this one and Cult on Wednesday. So, pretty excited. I think that's a pretty good way to go through the week of tabletop. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll get another one in there somewhere. But I'm not as experienced in tabletop as Charlie, or I'm still easing myself in.
I forgot to say though, Sam, thank you for the session. It was amazing. If
absolutely.
No one checks out anything else, just come back here on Thursday, because the other half of the cast is so incredibly talented. We have this whole story going on. So sorry, Tom, to interrupt you.
No, I'm done. That was it. Yeah. I haven't really got anything on, but I can't wait for next week to see how the other half do.
Well, I really enjoyed it, man. I'm so glad you're here with us. That's really cool. Awesome sauce. Susanah Grace is here.
I'm here. And everywhere else. I'm surprised y'all not sick of me yet. But tomorrow you can find me on Encounter Roleplay at 10 p.m. BST, 5 p.m. EDT for Judge Dredd in the Worlds of 2000 AD, where I've made the worst judge in the world.
Judge Judy, ladies and gentlemen.
Judge Judy. She's the worst.
I love that.
So corrupt. It's it's bad. I feel like I'm gonna have to fight Pruitt at some point. Not our characters. I feel like just me and Pruitt will have to have a throwdown. I'll kick his ass. But on Sunday,
if you want tickets for that, I got Kofi.
We're gonna stream it. We'll go stream it. Yeah.
We'll stream it. Like everyone's got a Twitch channel. We'll just multicast it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so starting from was it the 18th, 15th? I kind of get that date right for Sky Chasers. 12th. Oh my god. 12th.
All right.
So from the 12th, you can find me on Sky Chasers, where I'm playing a character called Betty, which is I'm just giving my characters all the funny names this season. But on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, you can find me on my own Twitch channel where I stream video games, D&D, other tabletop RPGs, art stuff. I just do everything. Tune in for those. This past week, I've been streaming me painting these character portraits that you can see on screen around here somewhere.
It was a very good. That's a very good thing there. Well done.
I've been doing some very good noses.
They're cracking noses.
Good noses.
Yeah. Can I just say, you literally captured Alfred to a T.
Oh,
You really did.
I think Marzia's one's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's a great portrait.
I think you made us all very good looking.
yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? If you're gonna paint people's characters, you gotta make them hot, unless they're like specifically not hot.
Not hot. Yeah.
I want to look like a foot.
Can we talk about the silver fox that is Sir Oliver as well?
Yeah, the silver fox. Yeah.
I mean, he is just Javier Bardem in a turban, but you know, I was about that. So yeah, so that's basically what I do. Like Charlie, I have a pinned tweet, but I'm everywhere all the time. Yeah.
Cool.
Coming to your ears soon in the Lost Girls podcast.
That's what I meant to say.
Girls, talk about the podcast, please.
Oh my god.
Talk about it. Come on.
Charlie, take the lead. You're our storyteller.
Okay. So we announced on Sunday that we are moving the Lost Girls over to podcast format on the Encounter Roleplay Network. This is super exciting for us because it's going to give us a lot more scope to tell a lot more story. And to support this, we've opened up a Patreon, which is patreon.com/thelostgirls, where you can be a hamburger, you can be a love bite, you can be a happy fish family member, and you can be a friend of Mr. Fine. But we also just post free stuff to check out. Silly posts from Patty, art, bloopers, GIFs, you name it. It's on there. We have a Patreon Discord as well, so if you donate as little as $1, you can join that and hear me and Susie waffle about random stuff on the daily.
Look, it's good content, Charlie. Come on,
it's good content.
Good content.
High shelf quality content.
The best bit about it is, if you're a patron, you're on the do not eat list. What more could you ask for?
That means that when I get hungry, I won't come and eat you specifically.
Do you have another list of people who haven't gone onto your Patreon yet, who you are going to eat?
I refuse to answer that on the grounds it may incriminate me.
Plead the fifth. You can't make me. Miranda rights. Nice. All right. Cool. Fabby David Easy. Yeah. Well, I am a patron of that because I think it's a fantastic show. I've enjoyed it since it started. And I thoroughly encourage you lot out there to follow it too, and to pledge some monies, just a little bit of monies a month, and it'll be awesome. All right. Well, I am Sam, otherwise known as RPG Webby, all across the internet. I work for Modifius Entertainment as the head of RPG development, and I also am one half of Black Cat Gaming, which are a little independent publisher. We're just starting our own game called The Spy Game, which Charlie's been helping me out test that way, not that way, on a Sunday. We're doing that from 4 p.m. UK time, which is about 11 a.m. Eastern, and we'll be kickstarting that in the summer, just coming up. So we're just getting into the final bits of the alpha for that, and then we'll get the beta out as soon as the Kickstarter hopefully funds. So we'll be able to build that up from the community, testing it, and then get that into publishing as well. So I'm really excited about that. It's a 5e based modern RPG. So that kind of spiritual successors to stuff like Spycraft, stuff like D20 Modern, and stuff that I played a bit when I was a bit younger and really enjoyed. I always love the kind of modern sci-fi stuff, and spies it's a little thing I really enjoy. So I really wanted to make the game of it.
And it's so fun and flexible. 100% recommend you check it out when that becomes available. It's a lot of fun, and come and see us on Sundays. I'm not playing this weekend, but I do believe the rest of the crew are, and they're in this wonderful theme park.
Dino Land, Dino World.
Yeah, well, this is the dino section of the park, right? We're in the Spark of Life theme park, and everything is run by crazy robots.
Yep.
And there's an identity theft scam going on, and it's wonderful and a lot of fun. But we play lots of different scenarios, play different characters, test it out, and it's so much fun.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and its plan is to be a toolkit for everybody, so you can run anything from. What are you doing, Cat? A little face pop up. You can run anything from your kind of like real world thrillers like The Bourne Identity to like crazy super spy action adventure movies with loads of Michael Bay explosions and Mission Impossible style like chases, where like, you know, Tom Cruise just runs chasing a motorcycle because that's just how fast he freaking hand runs. Spy Kids 3D, sure. Yeah, we'll do that next, Oz. Don't worry. Oz is going to play on Sunday in chat, and Tabletop Horde's around for that too. And Herm's in chat, which is lovely, and we'll see him on Sunday too. So yeah, come see us in Dino World. It's great fun. Cool. You can check more of that out at blackcatsgaming.com, or follow Black Cats. Follow the Black Cats, one of the two, on Twitter. I'm sure James is in chat and he'll post a little thingy for me. I did say as well, we were saying a bit in the Discord for this game, that actually it might be cool. I thought maybe to link the wiki that we've got going, because I mean, like, it can be edited strictly kind of like by anybody. I wonder if we can share that out for people. I really wish I had the proper time to update everything. Stop fighting.
Yeah, I need to finish a little bit of Marcy's page, but I think we could probably share it with the little crew that are here. They're trustworthy people.
Susie's got you already. Cool, yeah. So check that out because it gives you great context as well. And I literally write by it. Like I had it out like a couple of weeks ago.
Help fill in the gaps of
there's a lot
that we haven't told you.
There's a lot going on, and I'm hoping to slip it into a lot of the conversation and exposition I give. Herm, you can't add robo dinosaurs. It's not how it works. My cats are literally tearing each other apart. Stop it.
So with that,
thank you very much.
On the Twitters, all of our handles, I believe, are around. Come follow us all. We're all wonderful people with great content. But most importantly, you can @Sam and, you know, demand answers to questions, like about Spy Games, but also about this game, because I really need the inside scoop on what he's planning.
Yeah, like, you know, if you want to be with like one of our little buds, get in there in the spy action.
Nice. All right then. Thank you very much, my lovelies. We will see you next week for another sesh where we have a tourney.
4 p.m. Eastern.
4 p.m. Eastern. There'll be a tourney. It's gonna be great fun. Bye everyone.